Hello, everybody. My name is Amari Talavera. I'm a registered dietitian and licensed dietitian in the state of Texas. And I'm happy to have you here for Wellness Wednesdays. So I know that we all have a busy schedule, so I'm very glad you made it to this class. So what we're going to go over today is how to make some small changes in your life so you can have a big impact on your health. And I'll start by talking about the 12 Fix Benefits. This is a program that I run with my clients, and it overall will improve the health of their health. They'll strengthen the immune defenses, preserve and build muscle, lose excess inches, improve biomarkers, so improve your cholesterol levels, your A1C, improve mental health status, that being of depression, of anxiety, allow you to feel more focused, improve productivity, and improve sleep and cognitive thinking. So if this is something that you feel like you need to work on, this program is definitely for you. Now, we have this program and it runs for 12 weeks. So each week we have a single fix that we work on, and then we go ahead and focus on that and move forward to a next fix throughout the following week. So overall, it's a 3-month program with a registered dietitian. And so far, the participants that have worked with this program, 99% they've experienced positive benefits. 98% of them who at least completed 5 weeks, they said that they have continued to implement some of the fixes in their lives, and 92% of participants said they felt better overall. So this is key for when we're trying to make positive lifestyle changes. A little bit more about the program, the 12 Fixes to Healthy plan. It's not necessarily a diet plan. So I'm not going to give you calories for you to count, but it is going to be more of a lifestyle change, right? So we are going to be doing this in focusing on trying to achieve those goals, those weekly goals, at least 80% of the time, right? Because we're human and we understand that not all the time we're going to be perfect, and there's going to be parties in the workplace or parties or family events at home, and we still need to have the luxury to have the freedom to consume those foods and to join in with those family members. So this program is not necessarily overwhelming because we're going to work on things very slowly, and it shouldn't take a lot of time. So each week we will meet once a week for 60 minutes, and then throughout the week we'll talk through our communication page and continue to share some of those ideas. Now we can get started on the first fix here. So I'm going to go through a couple of tips from our entire 12 Fix program, and these are my favorite tips that I'm sharing with you today. So starting with the first one, and most likely the hardest because our regular American diet is so high in sugar that it's great when we can go ahead and pinpoint it and really just focus on it. So Fix 1, swap sugars. The goal here is to replace sugars, refined flour, and overly processed foods with whole foods. So that would be swapping chips and donuts for maybe something like an apple with peanut butter, and or popcorn. So swapping sodas for sparkling water, kombucha, kefir, and so much more. But the key here is being more mindful about our foods and putting in some effort to swapping those for whole foods. Now, a great tip here is to make sure that we're sweetening our food with a whole food sweetener like raw honey. Raw honey versus regular honey is going to have added benefits. Now, this is the unprocessed honey, and it's going to have antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-diabetic, and so much more instead of just a regular processed honey. So it's also going to be absorbed slower in your blood, and that's going to minimize that glucose spike that some of us get after consuming something really sweet. So try to include raw honey and make sure you're purchasing the right kind of honey when you go to the grocery store. Glycemic index. Now for my nutrition geeks, this is a great tool to figure out where you land and where those foods land as far as the glucose spike that you'll get after consuming them. So this glycemic index categorizes how fast the sugar in food is broken down and absorbed into the bloodstream. It'll be a scale from 1 to 100, and white bread is actually at 100. So we're going to use that as our marker. White bread is going to give you a big old spike, and then you're going to have a nice crash after that. But when we consume things that are either have a low glycemic index, we're not going to see that large spike. So an example here for comparison purposes, we're going to take back that raw honey and see that it has a GI, a glycemic index of 30 to 40. So when you compare it to regular honey, the processed honey, or just basic sugar, table sugar, we see a glycemic index of 80 to 90. So that's going to be a big old spike. And then we can also consider the pure maple sugar or pure maple syrup. That's also going to have a low glycemic index, ranging from 45 to 50. Now, maple syrup is great because it is a whole food sweetener. And when we compare it to pancake syrup, which usually has this really long list of ingredients, we're just usually going to see in the ingredient list one thing, and that is maple syrup. So when we're purchasing these sweets, we want to make sure that the ingredient list is very small and that we are able to understand everything in the ingredient list. We can make it at home, or we know where to get those ingredients. So the cleaner the label, the better it'll be, the closer we're getting to whole foods, right? Now, moving on to sweet things that come from nature, other than maple syrup and honey, I'm talking about berries here. Now, berries have very powerful plant chemicals called anthocyanin. And these are found in the blue color, the deep dark purple color in fruits, and also the red color in fruits. So the anthocyanin is a type of phytochemical that actually will help lower your blood sugars. So yes, you can have sweets and also have a glucose control. Moving over to another great fix that we work with here at the 12 Fixes to Healthy program with Also Easy Nutrition is the plant protein. So the general goal here is to eat a total of 75 to 150 grams of protein. We want to spread these out throughout the day with at least 30 grams of protein for breakfast. So we need to focus on our protein because at age 30, we start to actually lose our muscle mass. So in order to retain that muscle mass, we have to make sure that we're ingesting enough and that also we are moving. So we'll talk more about moving later. But protein actually is going to help with improving or decreasing your late night cravings. So in fact, not eating enough protein in the morning affects how many snacks you'll eat at night. And a team of researchers led by Dr. Healthy Lady conducted several studies on different age groups using brain scanning techniques, and they actually found that, sorry, my computer's freezing. They actually found that participants consistently experienced less cravings late in the afternoon and evening, even when they were most vulnerable to snacking on less healthy foods, just because they got those 30 grams of protein in the morning. So what you do in the morning does affect what you do at night. So make sure that you start the day right so you can plan for the later part of the day and not have to, have those late night cravings. Okay, so when we consume those 30 grams of protein, we're actually allowing ourselves to start getting into that build mode. So instead of turning our body and using our muscles to replete those missing calories, we're actually able to build on top of that instead of your body eating away at its muscle tissue. So it's really, really important that we do include specifically those 30 grams of protein in the morning, so then you can have a stronger body as you age. And if you didn't know, one of the top um, conditions that we see when it comes to, death, it's because of falls. So if you have muscle, you're able to prevent that as you age. Now, how can we get to those 30 grams, right? That's a big number. For most of us, if we've been consuming the regular American breakfast with pancakes and bacon, we probably aren't getting to that 30 grams. So this is a great recipe that I like. I'm obsessed with yogurt, and in my program, you'll hear me talk about yogurt all of the time, but it just has so many benefits. So in this recipe, I like to include 1 cup of plain Greek yogurt, which will have about 20 grams of protein. You can add another cup of cottage cheese to get another boost of protein, and also have a cup of walnuts, adding 6 grams of protein. And your cup out the door will have 30 grams of protein in 1 cup. So I personally don't add the cottage cheese. I actually just consume Greek yogurt with the walnuts, and then I top it off with some blueberries. And I feel like that's plenty for me. And I am also getting to that 30 because I do add a bunch of walnuts in Greek yogurt. So anyways, just play with this. The key thing here is to include these foods in your diet. Fix number 3 is consuming fermented foods every single day. And I know that it looks like we're going through every single fix here, but I'm just pointing out one of my favorite fixes here. And why is boosting our gut important? Well, the microbiome is about 3 pounds of organisms inside the digestive system, with around 40 trillion bacteria, fungi, and viruses collectively known as your microbiota. It is now considered a living organism. It is all working in your body to absorb nutrients from food, squeeze out invaders, and calibrate your support and your immune system. So an imbalance of this big new organ that we're working with can actually negatively affect your digestion, but it can also decrease your ability to fight off sickness, and it will increase your risk of disease. And on top of that, we're also going to have other issues with keeping the excess fat off the body, which I fear here you're probably trying to work on your weight management in some shape or form. So focusing on your gut will be key here. Now, about 60 to 70% of our immune system is found in the gut, especially now it's flu season. This is when we really need to put all of our efforts into getting those gut bacteria. So the thin and sticky mucus that lines the gut is full of immune cells, antibodies, and intestinal bacteria. There is a constant dialogue between your gut microbes and your immune system. And recent technology in gut microbiome research indicates that subtle imbalances in the gut microbiome affects all diseases. So if you're thinking, oh, why do I keep getting sick? Well, why don't we see how much probiotics and prebiotics we're including in your diet? Now, I did talk about keeping the excess fat off, and how do we do this? With the way that our food can actually extract those calories from the food. So our research is now showing that the ability to extract and store calories from food is actually influenced by the little bacteria that live inside your gut. So it's actually going to help you balance your weight and improve your overall management. Now, another great thing here with yogurt is that it does contain live cultures. The key when we're purchasing it is to make sure it says live cultures in the back. And other things that you can consider besides yogurt is kefir. I also like kimchi. I've been eating it a lot this week. And if you are vegan, there are non-dairy yogurts that do have live cultures inside of them, so you can still get the benefits of those fermented foods. Now, there are other plant-based and non-plant-based probiotics. Like I said, kimchi is the one that I've been consuming a lot, but we also have sauerkraut, sour dill pickles, unpasteurized miso, brine-cured olives, pickled vegetables, and kefir and kombucha. Now, the key thing here when looking for probiotic foods is to make sure that these are found in the refrigerator aisle. at any point, if there's any exposure to heat, the bacteria, the good bacteria that's living in these foods will die off. They're not really resistant to heat. So for an example that I can share is sourdough bread. In the starting process of sourdough bread, we actually use bacteria to make it rise and to get bread. However, in the baking process of sourdough, we're actually killing off the good bacteria. So you're not necessarily going to get a probiotic food. It is made through the process of fermentation, but it does not lead to a probiotic food. So when we're purchasing that kimchi, the sauerkraut, or in our pickles, making sure that these are in the refrigerated aisles, not in the can section, because these have been heated to increase the shelf life of these products. Now our fourth fix here, which is great and something that we do focus from the start, plays into the whole foods approach and is pushing produce. So eating half of your meals and snacks in fruits and vegetables. And once you start this program, you'll start noticing that you're adding these already, and this one should come as second nature. So the focus here is eating half of your meals and snacks in the form of fruits and vegetables, because fruits and vegetables are going to nourish your good microbes in your gut. Edamame, lentils, beans are high protein vegetables that are still going to provide fiber and going to help your gut microbiome. And you'll be surprised how good you feel after doing this for a while. And if you haven't been eating vegetables, you may experience a little bit of adjustment because you'll start consuming a lot more fiber than the usual. So just make sure that you're adding them gradually. Now, what are the benefits, right? There's so many benefits of eating a whole foods diet, but I love this one because it's the brain. Eating greens allows you to think better, and trust me, I'm feeling it. So studies followed retired adults and they consumed greens over 5 years, and they actually consume over a cup of freshly greens vegetables, or over half a cup of cooked grains, and had a slower decline in thinking skills and memory during mental exams than those who rarely or never ate them. So green eating participants were 11 years younger in cognitively than those who didn't indulge in green vegetables. So think about that. You can literally have better thinking abilities as you age just from consuming some vegetables. Fix 5, eating early. We want to make sure that we're front loading our eating and avoid eating in the evening. So like I said, eat with the sun. I love saying that, eat with the sun, because it does matter when you eat. And what we want to do is follow the light cycle. Insulin is actually most effective in the morning, and light starts the metabolic, physiological, and behavioral programs that are set on actually a 24-hour cycle inside of our bodies. So in the morning, you're going to be more effective at moving glucose out of the blood and into the cells, which can then be used for energy. Insulin becomes less effective and more resistant to handling blood sugar as the day progresses. So you're going to improve that way that your body is taking in the glucose and putting it to use inside of your cell. You want to take advantage of that morning boost and utilize that for better digestion. In the nighttime, we do have sleep hormones that are going to be blocking insulin's ability to move glucose out of the blood, because it is nighttime for everybody, right? Nighttime for our cells, nighttime for our brain, and also our insulin. So eating late in the day runs counter to signals, signals to the brain, and it sends various tissues in the body messages to slow down metabolism because we're about to go to sleep. So just try to remember that it's sleeping time for everybody inside of your body. Overnight fasting is another thing I want to discuss. It's also called time-restricted feeding, or sometimes referred to as time-restricted fasting. And this type of fasting used to be clumped with intermittent fasting, but it has risen to the top of the research in terms of its benefits to your health and weight. So, TRF helps participants with blood glucose control, insulin resistance, blood pressure, and weight loss. Other forms of intermittent fasting can help with those factors because of weight loss, but TRF is actually more sustainable. And a lot of the times we don't realize this, but we are participating in a fasting period. I talk to people and they're like, I want to try intermittent fasting. And then I ask them, okay, well, what time do you have your dinner? Oh, 7 p.m. Okay, what time do you have your breakfast? Oh, 8. And I'm like, well, you're already doing this. You're already having a really long period of fasting. So that would be about a 13-hour period of fasting. And you probably do that without even realizing it. But make sure you don't go over the 16 hours without eating, because that's when your body starts using your muscles, start eating at your muscles and your fats to use as energy. But we don't want to decrease our muscles. Like we said, we've been working so hard to build our muscle. Let's not go backwards. And like I said, it does have a lot of benefits, like improving blood sugar control, cancer prevention, improved blood pressure, and sleep. Now, another great fix here that we're going to talk about is moving more. Is to integrate doable movements into your lifestyle, no matter your fitness level. And a sweet and easy way for you to start moving more is to include it to your routine after you consume your meals. So adding 5 to 10 minutes of movement after your meal actually will help you control your blood sugar levels, and your muscles use this extra blood sugar as energy. So there's less circulating in the blood. So faster digestion with lower rates of heartburn and reflux symptoms are a bonus benefit from an after dinner walk. Add a little bit of extra movement after dinner before hitting the couch or before some screen or reading time. So go ahead and take a walk with your dog or start cleaning, making sure that you're trying to do some active movement so you can start promoting that digestion of your meal. Sleep and exercise, obviously these two things are interconnected. Regardless of age and demographics, movement has been consistently associated with better sleep. So the more you move, the better your sleep. And remember that sleep is what's going to allow our body to fully rest and fully recover. Now, shifting our surroundings. This means rearranging, resizing, planning, and searching your environment. So how can we shift our surroundings to make healthier choices easier? So start asking yourself, what's on your kitchen counter right now? Take a peek. Is it actually going to help your health goals right now? Do you keep it there because others in the house want it easily accessible? Well, in this one study, women who kept even one box of cereal on the counter were 20 pounds heavier than their neighbors who kept it all out of sight. So if they had soda on the counter, they were 25 pounds heavier than their neighbors who did not. So rearrange your surroundings to make healthier food front and center while keeping less healthy foods out of the picture. And I personally do this. I keep all of my snacks far away, and I literally need a stool to go and get my snacks. So I'm really thinking twice before I go ahead and reach for those snacks. And what I do keep on my counter is all of my fresh fruits and vegetables to help me realize that I do need to make these. I need to incorporate them in my menu, and I also can use these as a snack. Package size matters. So eating out of large packages leads to eating more than if you were eating out of a smaller package. So you want to dish out your food from the package and put it in a small cup before you start eating. Maybe even repackage your food into single serving portions from the get-go. So it's an illusion, but it actually works. The same portion looks bigger with a smaller dish or a smaller package. Even if sometimes you go back for seconds, overall, this method will help you eat less food without fighting your willpower. Switching fats. So Fix number 9 is to replace less healthy fats with healthier fats. And some fats provide surprisingly amount of benefits for the body and brain. And while other fats just promote disease and inflammation. But all fats taste good, so why not choose the ones that are more beneficial for your health and your weight? And I'm not actually talking of fats I'm not actually saying that we're going to take away fat from your diet. I'm actually recommending you to incorporate more fats and switch the types of fats. So there are 2 types of fats that we have that come out in the lead with benefits, and that is our omega-3 fatty acids and our monounsaturated fats. The 12 Fix plan concentrates on how to replace these less healthy promoting fats with these 2 types of beneficial fats. Sleep soundly. So sleep soundly, of course, choose to snooze. There is a sticky beta amyloid substance that actually builds up between your brain cells while you're awake. So you actually want to get rid of that before it turns into plaque and impedes your communication between the neurons. And you can do this with sleep. So let's call it brain cleaning. So think of sleep as your brain's cleaning service, since it clears out that sticky substance while you're asleep, and then it doesn't turn into plaque. Now, I've given you lots of tips today and a sneak preview on what our 12 Fixes to Healthy program is like here at Oh So Easy Nutrition. So if you love this content and you want to get more out of it, you can join. You guys can join our next program, which will be starting January 1st. Thank you so much for being here. And if you have questions, please feel free to write it in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this class, and I'll see you next Wednesday.